Once I was arrested, I was processed at the Burlington County facility. I was asked to remove my clothing, to bathe in the soap, and once that was done, I was asked to stand in front of an officer and manipulate my genitals, spread my hands apart, my arms apart, I'm sorry, turn around, squat, and cough.
This is Albert Florence's wife, April.
In those 6 days, I had no contact with my husband, which is hard because we speak to each other every single day. I see him every day. And to not hear from him, I couldn't call him. I tried calling up there. Nobody would let him come to the phone. And I'm home going through my pregnancy, and I'm having complications with that. And then to have to answer to my son, and he's 4 and he's wondering where his father is. It was hard. It was very hard. It was very hard to have to go through that.
About the strip search in particular, Mr. Florence later explained to the New York Times, quote, "I consider myself a man's man, 6'3", big guy. It was humiliating. It made me feel less than a man. It made me feel not better than an animal." Albert Florence sued, saying that he should not have been subjected to multiple strip searches because he was arrested for such a minor offense, wrongly arrested it turns out, and maybe even more importantly, he was not suspected of carrying any contraband. Today, the Supreme Court ruled in that case against Albert Florence. The Supreme Court establishing a new national precedent, which of course cannot be appealed, which says that no matter what you are arrested for, whether it is a traffic violation or an unpaid fine, or you have been caught walking your dog without a leash, or you've been picked up for not paying child support, no matter what you have been picked up for, even a false belief that you haven't paid something even when you did pay it, you can be strip searched multiple times.
Unfortunately, some judges give in to temptation and make law instead of interpret it. Such judicial lawlessness is a threat to our democracy, and it needs to stop.
Since Republicans took control of the House of Representatives and state legislatures around the nation, they've launched an all-out war on women. From defunding women's health care services, to defunding Planned Parenthood, to redefining rape, to blocking legislation that provides equal pay for equal work for women, you wonder if the next step for the Republican Party will be to repeal the 19th Amendment and take away women's rights to vote. Republicans are also cutting critical federal programs that assist low-income families across the country. And to make sure poor women don't get any help raising their kids while trying to work, Republicans are cutting Head Start programs and slashing elementary school funding. At the same time, Republicans have been feverishly pushing corporate tax cuts, corporate deregulation, corporate welfare, shipping U.S. jobs overseas, tax cuts for billionaires, even doing away with the inheritance tax. Basically, it's a strategy of let's steal from the poor, especially women, and give to the corporations and the rich CEOs. It makes you wonder, do conservatives think that corporations are actual people?
I was in Iowa the other day and someone said, why don't you just raise taxes on corporations? And I said, because corporations are people.
But women, particularly poor and minority women, are just second-class citizens?
As we speak,
no.
Fred Upton, the congressman, Boehner, Cantor, the whole Republican leadership in both sides is pushing a big bill to change the health care bill to deny people the free contraception.
The truth is they do. But this isn't anything new in America. Since the fateful Supreme Court case in 1886, Southern Pacific Railroad versus Santa Clara County, when a court reporter decided to take it upon himself to say that corporations are people and they should be granted all the same rights as people, despite the fact that the Supreme Court had actually ruled the exact opposite, corporations have staked claim to more and more rights that used to be reserved just for actual living and breathing people.
Your state has executed 234 death row inmates, more than any other governor in modern times. Have you struggled to sleep at night with the idea that any one of those might have been innocent?
No, sir, I've never struggled with that at all.
So I don't want to make people's lives better by giving them somebody else's money.
In 2010, when I was deployed to Iraq, I had to lie about who I was because I'm a gay soldier, and I didn't want to lose my job. My question is, under one of your presidencies, do you intend to circumvent the progress that's been made for gay and lesbian soldiers in the military?
Yeah. This was a bill, an abortion bill, that would have mandated that women get what's called a trans-vaginal ultrasound if they were getting an abortion.
Are you saying the society should just let him die?
No. If the NAACP invites me, I'll go to their convention and talk about why the African American community should demand paychecks and not be satisfied with food stamps.
Republicans in Virginia were all set to make a new law requiring Virginia women to undergo a vaginal probe ultrasound before the state would allow them to get an abortion. It passed both houses of the Virginia legislature. Governor McDonnell had already said he would sign it. And then the national media noticed, and everyone, including us, freaked out. It made its way onto Saturday Night Live last weekend. There was a big silent protest outside the Capitol in Richmond on Monday. There were big unsilent protests all over the Capitol grounds yesterday. Governor McDonnell and Virginia Republicans tried to back away from the national disaster they had created for themselves by claiming that they had no idea that they were requiring such an invasive procedure. They tried amending their legislation so that they're still having the government force your doctor to do medical procedures to you against your will. You're still forced to have a political ultrasound mandated by the state, but the new requirement would stop just short of that forced state-mandated ultrasound being forced state-mandated vaginal penetration. It's kind of hard to unring that bell. And all the trying in the world has not saved Bob McDonnell from a new political reality in which he is the vaginal ultrasound guy. He's the vaginal probe guy now. Personally, ever since the Washington Post put his mid-career thesis from Pat Robertson's Televangelist College online, I've always thought of him as the homosexuals and fornicators guy. But now to the wide world, he is the vaginal ultrasound guy. Now the thing everybody is dying to ask him about is this vaginal probe bill.
You flip-flopped on this, you backed the bill, and now you say no. Why?
No, Jerry, I think you've got it wrong. I support the concept of an ultrasound requirement.